We are live. We're live, everyone. You're looking at what we're doing tonight is Klaus Schwab. This is the face of fear. This is a reporter who very few reporters get CNBC style access to Klaus Schwab. This gal, she had no idea what she was about to run into, and watch the face of fear. You'll see it here. You'll see it at the end. Watch it very closely while she is asking the questions. Suddenly she's like, oh my God. So she didn't know what she was about to hear. Hit play, Jen.
I don't know how it will play out in November, but what we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the gray economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increase by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. And I see the need for action. I see the need for a great reset.
To what extent would a reset be brought about by a change in the White House, the election of Joe Biden, for instance?
That's the face of concern.
We shouldn't speculate about the outcome of the election.
I want to just pick up on some of the economic projections. In your book, you tackle what the future may look like. And at this stage, we're grappling with various letters of the alphabet, whether it's a V or a U or perhaps even a symbol, a tick shape. Can you just give us some clues about the growth down the track, what we can expect?
And I think
the face of a liar.
This is an opportunity again to find solutions which are beneficial for the next generation. So why not to tie government aid to the green economy which we have to create? Why not to make sure that we revolutionize, digitalize particularly our educational system?
That's what someone who looks bewildered looks like. Why don't you run the intro, Jen?
Oh my goodness.
Seriously.
I have to just do it.
It's like I can tell myself, I don't have to think about it.
I was designed to do those things.
How the hell is this guy know this about me?
It's impossible. It's not safe.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's like, you know that? It's human design, guys. Like, it's a testimony of how legit it is.
Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022.
June 1st, baby.
Yes, and the Wednesday night shows kind of changed a little bit. We renamed it the Human Design of Currrupt Leadership. And tonight we are doing Klaus Schwab, and you saw a little intro video before we popped on. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Dan, because I know you are fired up about it.
I'm fired up. If you guys were watching that, so that reporter, she didn't even really know what was coming. She's like a reporter at CNBC mid-level, and you don't see her a lot. And suddenly she's interviewing Klaus Schwab. And when you replay this video later, look at her face. She's asking a question in not only bewilderment, but in fear. And if you can go back to the very beginning of that, was what she ended with after he was like, we shall need a great reset. We shall need to tie the economy to that's what he was saying, we'll need to tie your income to your compliance with carbon credits. That's what he was saying. And to go to school, we should tie it to that too. So yeah, we're going to get into Klaus Schwab tonight because human design tells us what we are and what we are not. And if you live out what you're not for too long, suddenly you forget to look at anything else. And suddenly you just don't know. So let's pull up his chart for a second.
All right. Let me go ahead and get that up.
other things about Klaus Schwab. He's the leader of the World Economic Forum. He's the person who's in charge of basically keeping all the players together on a world stage to organize the money, to organize the influence that then corrupts the UN, various cabinets. He's always putting people in cabinets. Justin Trudeau went to the WEF Academy. Yeah.
That's another one we should do too.
Yeah, and same with the Prime Minister of France. Same with cabinet members all around the world. Some of our cabinet members, Pete Buttigieg or whatever his name is, spent a spell to George W. Bush. So, yeah, this man has had his tentacles into everything for a long time, and so with all of this influence and power, he and all the rest of the clan up there are trying to, look at all those open centers, Savannah. So we're going to get to all of that.
One thing that I noticed about this was that I was pulling up the template, and we did Obama not that long ago. And guys, I'll link that down below. But when we were doing the investigating between him and the other location, Obama had the projector 6'2".
Yep.
That was the false profile that we did.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then Obama ended up being a 5'1" profile, the general and the investigator who can deliver a message and universalize a message. So Obama was always talking. This man's profile is a 6'2". It's supposed to be the role model hermit. But when it turns against a person and they're living out all the stuff that they're not, that 17.6 and that 18.6 are all about fake Buddha-ness. The bodhisattva that literally is a lie. These people, he had to be spoiled so that all of his ambition to try and correct everything will come out, and he can only do that from a place of being absolutely spoiled. This man got to where he was through his privilege, and that spoiling actually turned out a monster. That second line in him is the hermit. You don't see Klaus Schwab. You don't see, unlike Barack Obama, you don't see, who also is an affiliate as a young man. Barack Obama was a Klaus Schwab appointee. Yeah. So
imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, see, it's a big club and we aren't in it. So
big club and we're not in it. And so this man was born in 1938, and I'm not sure what keeps him young, but people can probably take a guess. And these people are too old for leadership at some point in time. But they can't give up the reins. 17 and 18, the sun, earth, that which drives him, that which grounds him, that which moves him. Yes, these are very important in the genetic continuity of Klaus Schwab. 17 is the gate of opinions. And if you have it in the 6 lines, it's the gate of my opinions are the best. My opinions are the best. Gate 18. If you're gate 18, line 6, it's all about correction. The fight to correct stuff. And let's see what Savannah's saying.
Where we are open is where we get off track and not self comes out.
Absolutely. And so gate 18, line 6, his earth, we can count on him to always stare at stuff that he will make a judgment to. It's about being judgmental. And that channel he's got at the bottom of his body graph, 5818.
Channel 5818.
Yes, it's the channel of judgment, an insatiable desire for correction. And the correction of anything below him, it's supposed to be in the Buddha. It's supposed to be for the good of mankind. But this man is an individual like all the other individuals. It's strictly for the good of literally he and his tribe, he and his club. That's what. So he's stuck in the old reptilian freaking scum-sucking 7-centered way that only knows how to strategically cooperate with his pals in order to get what is it he wants. Go ahead, Jen.
You Epiphany, and I love how you can know when I have them. It is their tribe.
That's their tribe.
Yes, and I never viewed it that way.
Elite tribalism masquerading as collectivism.
Correct. It's a tribe. So if we, as the other tribes, become a tribe, we can overthrow that tribe because it's a lot more. We have a lot more than what they do.
Let's look at this man as a little boy growing up under the privilege undoubtedly he would have had.
Grooming.
All of this openness in his body graph. So he's got this. First, let me start with his definition. He's got a defined root. So under pressure, he will naturally do well. The root is there to absorb the pressure. He provides the pressure to move stuff. The defined spleen, the triangle pointing in where your cursor is. Yep, the defined spleen. This is all about fear. This is a fear center, and it drives the person who has this channel of judgment, being judgmental. That judgmentalness is not supposed to be personal, except when you're tribal, acting out of the need to basically rule and control others. Suddenly it's judgmental only for oneself and one's tribe against the other. That's the detriment of this man. That's where his not self goes. And if he can't have it, he gets bitter. People don't want to see that bitterness, so they appease him. And this channel of judgment is designed to want to try to challenge authority, correct anything, have your judgment become the law of the land, period. And it's in this stream. Lee, this is interesting. Wouldn't be participating in judgment and correction when he looks at it. Yeah, right, Lee. Yeah, if he was to look at his own flaws, he's not going to look at his own flaws. He can't bear to see them. He doesn't even know he has them. And
no one's ever told him. If he's been spoiled, grooming, he's been groomed.
He was groomed, and he has become a professional groomer. So on the next clip we're going to play, you're going to watch Klaus Schwab's idea of taking over the entire world, leaving us with nothing so that he thinks we'll be happy. He knows we won't. He is aware that half of the population is going to have to die under his way. And it's not just him, it's the whole club. They want the resources for themselves. And Klaus Schwab was groomed to be the projector that he is. He's always penetrating the scene. He's got these penetrating eyes. He's got a 6'2" profile that where the second line on the left-hand side, that where it says the 38 and 39.2. Yes, that second line part of it is the hermit. It's the natural. So he naturally is penetrating everyone in the scene to basically guide them. He's the natural guide for all of this. And what stands out in the natural guide? That 6-line role model that when it's not a role model, it's a fucking hypocrite. He, like the last two that we had, Bill Gates included, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is what they live by. They say one thing and then they go and totally do another. So when we watch the next clip, and this clip that we just watched, she asked him, well, how does that work out? And he said, The rest of the time he was speaking fine. Yeah, he's got a thick accent, but he's got a good command of English, period. All of that stumbling.
Well groomed on that too.
He stumbled for 10 full seconds. That's what I went with. Yeah.
Real quick, before we show that, Savannah had a comment to say.
What was it, Savannah?
He has two deaf gates where they won't allow others to influence.
Oh, yeah. So let me hit those before I move to his open centers. Down at the bottom, he's got more than two. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 of them. 8. But the big 2 that Savannah's talking about are part of his incarnation cross. They are most easily conditioned by the environment and their upbringing. That's exactly right. This man was just conditioned. He's literally a machine made for this job. And it requires the death of half the planet. And it requires the reallocation of all the resources so that there can be a new stakeholder society. He puts it right in his book. He puts it right on the message that, do we have the picture of that thing? I'm going to read it out. That this is what Klaus Schwab says.
Are you talking about
that clip from the book? This is from the book, The Great Reset. He's edited it a couple of times. Most recent one is Great Reset COVID-19. At least 4 billion, listen, quote, useless eaters shall be eliminated by the year 2050 by means of limited war, organized epidemics of fatal, rapid-acting disease and starvation. Energy, food, and water shall be kept at subsistence levels for the non-elite, and they refer to themselves as the elite. Starting with the white populations of Western Europe and North America, then spreading to the other races. Populations of Canada, Western Europe, the United States will be decimated more rapidly than other continents until the world's population reaches a manageable level of 1 billion. 1 billion, of which 500 million will consist of Chinese and Japanese races, selected because of their peoples who had long regimented for centuries and who are accustomed to obeying authority without question. Bam. This is in his book. Don't trust me, man. Go buy his book, The Great Reset.
Yes, and I did do some research before this because I was trying to find a copy, which I will continue to try to find a copy for you guys to post down in the link below so you can do your own research.
Yeah.
But yes, again, don't take our word for it. Always do your own research.
Absolutely.
This has been circulating.
Does this sound horrifying to anybody? This is the agenda. I mean, is this the first you've seen of this, Jen, by chance?
Have I what? Say that
again? Is this the first you've seen of this passage of this book?
No, I believe I came across it, but to be honest, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, if you really want to get into it, just go to the Georgia Guidestones.
Right.
They have that here in the United States. It says pretty much the same thing. Not only that, but in different languages. So it's really sure to get clear.
They had it in 3 or 4 or 5 different languages, right? Something like that.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Make sure everyone knows.
Says the same thing that this does.
Yeah, exactly. Useless eaters, guys. That's how we're viewed. So, wake up and make no mistake about this. Go back to his chart for a second.
Hold on. That's fascinating you say that, Savannah. I'm a projector and just receiving the message to break the pattern of unconscious. Yes. All right. Back to his chart. Or do you want me to play the video chart?
No. I'm bring back up his chart so I can say something else about this man. So, on the gates of deafness, Klaus Schwab is designed to be a hypocrite that doesn't listen to anybody else. He's not going to listen except for that super duper super billion mile high club. That's it. He'll listen to Bill and George and oligarchs in Russia and the Vanderbilt. He'll listen to some of these people, but no one else. And the 2 gates Savannah had mentioned were gate 38 and 39 at the bottom of his chart. They're unconscious in him. Yes. So everything unconscious about this man is the fighter for and the provocateur of that which he will not listen to. So he fights the other to get something out. And as soon as they get something out, if it doesn't fit his stuck-up ass way, which is judgmental, sharing his judgment with other, he's got one definition. He's a judgmental man. And if whatever he says, someone else says, doesn't fit his judgment right away, his elite, pampered, bodhisattva, totally taken care of, never spent any time around anybody else who's normal self, he's not listening. These are gates of deafness. One says, I will fight for my purpose. And he will fight for his German. He's probably Jewish too, unfortunately. But
to his accent, Dan.
I'm a Jew, man. I always hate it when I see fellow Jews going awry, but whatever. He's definitely Austrian German. And, people in his cabinet have ties right back to the Third Reich. Right back to the Third Reich, Jennifer. This is like Nazi Hitler bullshit.
I noticed that. So when I saw where he was born, I was like, oh, that, and the time period. And now that you are saying about his profile and him being conditioned and everything like that, it makes complete sense. That is what they did. That's what German wanted to perfect on, was the mind control and how much
they
can manipulate.
He's going after our kids. They've gone after our kids. In fact, never mind. They got our kids. They got a big hunk of our kids, and dumb us, we let it happen. So no can do anymore. Look at the town he was born in, Ravensburg. I mean, that's ominous all by itself. This man's a real piece of shit. And so that spleen.
Great.
Go ahead.
Lee had a great question. So this is where I get stuck. If everything is designed perfectly, how is this a horrific problem? Wouldn't the counterbalance of this man exist in a world as well to balance the scales?
Yeah. Close the comments for a little bit. Lee, they totally would. You and I grow up in a socialized event where we learn who we are in communion with the other. The riches of these people have avoided them the necessity to be in communion with the inhabitants of planet Earth. They're in communion with their own inbred tribe only. Genetically, this man is unaware of what it is. And if he wants to carry out his great reset plan, he should be forced to be chained down to a freaking poor country or a poor place here in the United States and have to interact with the people as they starve. That was in his book, Through Starvation, Disease. He should have to sit there and watch it and interact with the people, you know, if he wants to do that. But no, the hypocrite will never do that. Do as I say, not as I do. This is the motto of hypocrisy when you have a 6'2" profile and you're acting out the hypocrisy portion of that. What Lee asked is a great question. But the thing is, this man, without having been the necessary need to commune with others and only communing inside of his own very small limited tribe, suddenly he doesn't have the benefit of living out, Lee, what you are asking about. So there's a difference. There's our old way, which we've gotten away from, but we haven't gotten used to it yet. That old way is all about, Jennifer, we've gone over this many times. It's a strategic, conquering way. It's a savage way. It's the way that was willing, that only needed to cooperate. And when it was done cooperating genetically, its way was to want the stuff of the person they just cooperated with. So that's why people would always sack the village next door as soon as they were big enough, even though they traded with them just the year before or the decade before. It didn't take long. And that was just that was the way of it, how it was. When we transitioned into our new, far more awake being with new emotional awareness that wants to feel deeply, suddenly our requirement genetically came to commune. We were required to commune, and that's why people always get together. That's why we're with each other. The more we're held apart, the sicker we get. That's not a sickness because someone got a cold. It's a genetic sickness. We're sick at the genetic level. And we have school shootings and murders and suicides went up. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a consequence. Fuck you, Anthony Fauci. And fuck you too, fucking whoever your name is, Klaus Schwab. It's a consequence of what you guys designed to have happen. That's the bottom line. So the not self of judgment, to finish answering Lee's question, the not self of this channel of insatiable desire to correct. You see it in his eyes when he talks about the things he likes. He's glowing with the idea of murdering half the planet. He's literally glowing with it. And then he uses all these euphemisms like a good hypocrite would. Oh, I'll use the words we're going to have to correct. People will be angry with each other. Oh, there might be some agitation. He uses all these euphemisms. When he's doing that, you see him slow down because he's a liar. When he talks about the things he loves, he's fluent. His English is just fine. You'll see that on the clip we'll play. But the not self of the channel of judgment is to be judgmental and have it be personal, to think you're correct without having it be the will of the collective, without having it be the will of debate and scientific identification of that debate, inclusive of everyone. This channel is in the stream of awareness that's all about taste. So from 58 all the way up to gate 16 in the throat, the awareness of this stream is all about his taste. His Hippocratic taste naturally will fight and provoke that which he can judge upon others, not for himself. Let me judge unto you, but not unto me. That's Klaus Schwab. He actually can't help that because of how he was raised and what he's into right now. He would need to have a real moment. You know, that I keep saying it every episode, the Grinch whose heart grew 3 sizes that day, but I'm not counting on it, guys. Count on starvation, rolling power outages here in the United States, count on all kinds of strife until we wake up more and more and more, or not. Our way to take power from these people is to say, hey, you can't have it. Look, we didn't all kill each other over here. Fuck you. and we got a lot of guns. The way to handle this is to start neighborhood militias. Literally, everybody start their own neighborhood militia, and just literally, and maybe post it on Facebook. Let's have the militia club on Facebook and see how quickly Facebook does or doesn't shut us down, and then we'll go over to Rumble, or we'll go over to Truth Social or something of that nature. Because the bottom line is that's the only thing these people are going to respect. That, or we
gotta be careful when we say that stuff like that on YouTube.
On
it's
YouTube.
Gonna get taken down.
Well, it's true.
I know.
Anyway, so what he's missing, look at that gate that he's missing. Gate number 48. If he had 48, he would have this whole stream of awareness. So poor Klaus Schwab is stuck wanting to correct everything, but he can't do it alone. He has to cajole, lie, smear, and say all the things you hear him saying in order to get the depth. This man is sad because he doesn't have all the depth. So what does he do? He fills it in with fictitious lies about how we'll all be okay. And he pretends to be deep. He's missing depth. That's not a problem, by the way. That's perfect. If you're a normal person, for him, he covers it up by trying even harder as a projector who's trying to focus and penetrate the other and be the leader and the ruler of everything. He uses that to literally cover up his lack of depth, for which he's terribly insecure. So here's a man who's insecure with a ton of open centers, thinking about things that don't matter, not knowing when to vocalize, not knowing how to be enthusiastic. You'll see his enthusiasm, gate 16, shows up out of the blue. It just shows up and then it goes away and then it comes back and then it goes away. You'll see that as he talks. And not knowing when enough is enough. This man will never know when enough is enough. And as soon as he's dealt a hard question, that's a confrontation. He fears confrontation, so he avoids it. Go ahead.
So if he doesn't know when enough is enough, then even he could go surpass that little number that he has in his book, couldn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Of starvation.
Yeah, well, he's more than after. Well, he figures $1 billion. Yeah. Oh, sorry, we went to only 750 million. We went over by 250 million. It's okay. They will breed. Give them a little more food, and they will breed more babies. That's Klaus Schwab. That's
until they turn on each other.
Well, that's the thing. They turn on each other routinely above. We just don't get to know about it.
Yeah,
they're all subject to the design that is them. So he's got an open identity center. What that means, and when the not self of that, when you are living out who you are not, the open identity center is, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to behave. I'm not sure who I am. I'm not sure who I am. He's got a 17 and a 16 and his personality, Sun, Earth. His opinions are in an open center. They're in the ajna. So the sun driving down to give him the breath that will be all the stuff he knows was fully conditioned into him. His sunshine couldn't be let out until someone came and opened up the door. That would be his mother and his father and the groupies around that provides the rest of that stream of awareness and a defined throat and a gate 62. So this man has no idea what makes his sunshine until he's been conditioned into believing what is it. And by having a sunshine, guys, that's not a mystical term. That just means the energy that's going to drive him. The genetic energy that drives him is the energy to correct through the opinions that he develops, that he thinks are his own. They are not. He's never developed his own opinion. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind while you watch this footage. You should roll the video in a minute. This is the video that's coming up is several sections of what Klaus Schwab is planning, along with some of his minions that speak for him. This is all at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where they fly all their jets in and make a carbon footprint like the size of any large city, all by themselves in 1 week. And this was 22, 20, and 18 are where these clips are from. They've been talking about this a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you roll a clip and you can see what these guys have to say. Pay close attention because they have accents. Dr. Evil. I don't know if people can read that.
We are at the threshold of a radical systematic change that requires human beings to adapt continuously. As a result, we may witness an increasing degree of polarization in the world, marked by those who embrace change versus those who resist it. I'm Dr. Evil, and I'm aspiring to take over the world. Boy, is that not a fact?
Yeah,
right
well, we
there.
added the extra sentence, I'm Dr. Evil and I'm aspiring to take over the world. The top two were taken out of his book. The euphemisms he used, they'll be challenging. They may not, it may be difficult. Those words he used, these are euphemisms, lies for a lot of people are going to die. And the people who resist are going to die is what he's trying to say.
I think it's plain. No, it's not plain.
It's so this man is, that's his deal. Yeah, it'll play. Let it roll.
Trying. They don't want us to let it play. Hold on, guys.
Because this first slide is still for about 5 or 6 seconds. So people
hold on 1 second. Let me do something real quick, guys. Take that off and refresh because they did this earlier. Present. Got it.
Got a dog back there, Jennifer?
It's the cats.
That's funny.
Cognition and eventually consciousness.
Nope. Yeah, it's the cats. I didn't know you could hear them. All right.
The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the states of the world. The purpose of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take a genetic editing, just as an example.
Look at the glee.
You who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Editing your genes? Cool.
History is truly at a turning point.
Now he's a liar.
Knows the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected. In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever. What is also needed is a summit like this one to go beyond crisis management and to look into constructive ways we can build our common future.
We are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere, and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online. You know, from freedom of speech to the freedom to
a recalibration of human rights of all kinds. More euphemism. A recalibration, lady. Now watch her face as she turns her eyes down, searching for the lie she's gonna say.
You know, to be free from online violence, or the right of data protection to the right to child dignity.
I'm sure you've seen the face of this guy being praised as a visionary. Face of this guy. Face of this guy.
Favorite economic forum speaker of all time is this reptile, Klaus Schwab's top advisor, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari.
Top advisor.
He's one of them.
Let's see what he has to say.
Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
Elites hacking organisms and... Well, he's not talking about doing that to people, is he?
Now, in the past, Many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people.
I guess he was talking about doing that to people. All people.
Humans are now hackable animals. Hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
Free will, that's over.
The World Economic Forum pushes digital ID systems that will determine access to services.
Obedience or bravery? Outsource your perspectives or do your own critical thinking? We are in the process of either the Great Reset or the Great Awakening, and the choice isn't Klaus Schwab's. The choice is yours.
There she blows.
That was spot on, Dan.
It was really, yeah. I wish I had better editing equipment, but it's like I caught what we needed to have.
Perfect.
Yeah, me trying to live my life and Klaus Schwab. That's really good. I like that.
It's so spot on accurate.
Yeah. So back to this, all the openness in Klaus Schwab's body graph. This is all the stuff that makes him be afraid. He's afraid of all of these things that are in him. He's got the fear of there being an authority over him. That's his gate 18. He's got the fear of that he won't be able to speak what he wants to speak. The fear of what you won't hear, gate 22. He's got the fear of darkness, not darkness, it's 17. It's the fear of rejection, that his principles and his ideas will get rejected. He's got the fear of God in gate 49 off of his and other people's traditions and his own traditions going awry. He's afraid that the traditions he's lived under all this time will go away. He's got a fear of that. That's down in his solar plexus, gate 49 and gate 37. It's an actual fear, the fear of traditions. Are the traditions good enough? Are my tribe's elite traditions going to be upheld or not? Might they go away? And the more they've done what they've done, the more they have to go all in, or else we're going to know en masse. Mm-hmm. Up top in his head center, the triangle pointing up, it's totally open. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know. Everything he comes up thinking ends up being an idea that passed him by, that was installed in him, that he ran into. He's not sure which questions to answer. He's busy thinking about things that don't matter. 70% of the population has an open head center. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what you got to know, that your mind is always under pressure to think about too much.
Well, we just got done seeing a video on how humans are hackable. I wonder if they have hacked him.
Oh, you never know. He could be. Dude, that's a good question. But I mean, you know what those people were saying? They were saying it out loud. This is at Davos. This is the World Economic Forum, the WEF. Every year they put this on. 18, 20, and 22 are where those clips are from. I don't know where 21s are and 19s. I probably have them somewhere, but it doesn't matter.
But they've been saying it, and it's interesting that he does say it like that, we're hackable and free will, that's
over.
On.
Yeah.
That tells you that they have been doing mind control for quite some time. And not only do they do it on us, they practice on each other. I mean, he's just an example. He was groomed and conditioned, from what we're reviewing.
Yeah. And
from a young age.
Right. Did you notice the difference between the liar and the truth teller? So,
yes.
I mean, when he was talking about genetic editing, if you get the editing, suddenly his eyes bulged. He was alive. He was leaning in. His English was just fine. When that lady asked him a tough question, he stumbled for 10 seconds, liar. When he was reading from before, he was reading a script as an opening thing. This was all prepared, hypocritical, euphemism stuff. Every time he talks about, and they used the word stakeholder in there, When you watch it back, you'll find we'll make decisions with the stakeholders. Stakeholders is a euphemism for the club. Stakeholder literally means I hold a stake in $1 billion worth of real estate. Now you're a stakeholder. You own a home, you're going to get pushed out. You own a lot of stuff because you're mega wealthy. You have a stake. And they're talking about moving to a governance where the stakeholders will decide. Who the hell do you think they're going to decide for? Themselves.
Themselves.
Right. And
until this man, and in this one, they'll probably have to execute because he doesn't know when to stop.
No, he's got a stake.
He'll be suicided.
Yeah, well, no, don't worry. His days are numbered anyways. He's old. He's like 85 years old, although you can't quite tell from the pictures.
We can only suspect why.
Yeah, he's drinking blood. So that not knowing when enough is enough, and this whole avoiding confrontation with all of these open senders. I'm going to run them down from the top to the bottom. Open head, open ajna, open throat, thinking about things that don't matter, totally fearful of the certainty you don't have, the rationale you can't be sure of, and the chaos and the oppressive confusion that comes in. I'm reading his gates. To solve that, he will speak out of line and have to learn when does he make his own speeches. This was something he had to learn, trial and error. It's the only, and what he did learn was to shut up and be a hermit most of the time. Because when he does speak, he starts to go on. He can't help it. He can't help it. When he starts actually speaking, he has to catch himself. And what's he here to do? Gate 8 off his throat. The not self of that, I would like to contribute my pain with you. Let me contribute my bad plan that kills you. That's the open throat center. Not knowing how to communicate. Trying to communicate too much. Wanting to attract attention. Everybody, let me attract your attention. That's the not self of an open throat center. How may I attract your attention? It goes crazy. It can ease when you've been conditioned this far. That thing, who knows what this has done to this man? When you've been socialized with others, you quickly see it. Oh, I'm trying to attract attention. But when you live in these echelons, you don't notice it. The open G center. Am I still looking for love and direction? Poor Klaus, his love and direction won't be satisfied until he's murdered everybody. And then
that's not self-theme, right?
That's his not self-theme. And when I say murdered everyone, because then he'll be safe. He'll be able to pursue the love and direction of, I'm sure he loves his grandkids if he has any. You know, I'm sure he has some love. I mean, he's human, so he loves something. He loves something. And whatever it is he loves, they'll be safe and protected when the humans are brought under control. And there's only 1 billion of them through starvation, famine, deadly disease that strikes fast. His words. That's his words, not mine. And the famine and the control of energy on the white and European populations first. Why us first, Jen? Why us first?
Why us?
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious.
We're disposable.
Well, but the why us first, though, the first part is what I'm asking. Why us first? Because we think we vote. We think we have freedom. We act as if we have freedom. We are free, as far as I'm concerned.
That's the illusion that they give us.
Well, and that's the illusion that we're giving them back. We're going to give them back the truth behind that illusion, which is, fuck you, I'm free. And
claiming our sovereignty.
Literally. And so at the end of the day, there's nothing that when they see it, they will try to squash it harder. Everyone beware. This projector has gone through the agonizing process of trying to prove his worth. That open ego, he doesn't even know how to value himself. He was there. I've got a totally open ego. I've had times where I didn't even know how to value myself. And then that open solar plex center down below, avoiding the confrontation, or on the right. Sorry. Yeah, avoiding the truth, avoiding confrontation, trying to avoid the hard things. So what's he avoiding the hard thing with now? Let me kill everyone so I can avoid the difficulty of having to deal with the fact that we have energy crises coming and we have distributions that are going to be difficult. These supply line disruptions are on purpose. They're here to get this mayhem process started. Who's going to starve to death? Well, the rich nations will be able to suffer at least the first winter and mostly go it alone and have maybe a 10% casualty list. Certain poor African countries and other countries in various places where climates aren't so easy, they might see 50 and 60% attrition rates over this year and the next. You wait and see. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong, but I'm
I
not.
don't know. I mean, the more I don't watch the news or anything, but my aunt will play it and I'll overhear some things, or when I get in the car and turn on the radio, and
they're pigs, absolute pigs.
Hunger Games, guys. Like it is literally, they put it in the movies.
You add all these open centers up, and it comes down to that sacral center with all that pressure in that sacral center, not knowing when enough is enough. He doesn't know when enough is enough, trying to prove that he can find love and direction through, unfortunately, he won't look at it too closely, the murder of everybody else so he can know who he is. He has to kill us so he can know who he is. And he explains that by not knowing what is it he's certain of. That's Klaus Schwab in a nutshell. And he's afraid of the chaos that will come along if everything that he thinks he's planning doesn't come out the way he wants. His one piece of definition, the biggest frustration and bitterness he will suffer is if it doesn't work. And that which he is identified with, this channel he has is all about having to be identified with the things you logically wish to correct. Having to be identified with the things you logically wish to correct.
He wants to correct the population.
Yeah, he would like to correct the population and recontrol the resources so that they can drive their yachts and we can own nothing and be happy. This is really happening, and this guy is really doing it. And all those clips I pulled, he really said all that.
Yeah.
So
and guys, again, you can go do your own research. Listen. I mean, enter the experiment yourself and see it playing out.
Let me read your design for you and wake you up, or find a reader to get read. Come back and ask questions. Turn back on the comments, would you? And get woke up. Like, go through your process, find out what's on there and what your strategy is. Klaus Schwab is supposed to wait for the invitation before he knows he's being recognized. Instead, his privilege gave it to him, and he assumes he's being recognized. He doesn't even know that we're not recognizing him.
He's using his privilege as his invitation?
Yeah. He bought his invitation.
So the entitlement.
The entitlement of the hypocrite. Hanging Gate 17 and his conscious son doesn't like his opposition challenge. Yes, his opinion challenge. The fear of challenge. Thank you, Savannah. Yep. Thanks, Savannah. Oh, you saved the day with that one. I was forgetting that one. And he feels terribly inadequate if that fear goes on too long. Fear of inadequacy. He's loaded with it. So he purchases his fear of inadequacy to be gone, basically. And that fear of challenges, and he knows this, by the way. I don't like to be challenged. So for all I know, he's called a hit on many people if they challenged him too much. I wouldn't be surprised. These people, they know they think they can do whatever. Well, you push us
so
hard.
far, only because, and I'll say something on this, and that's only because we, the people, have buried our heads and allowed them to for centuries. So they've been getting away with it. So even now they're getting a little cocky and brazen about it. So they do this stuff, just like the video footage that we pull up. It's right in front of our faces, and you still have people out there.
Guys, he published it in a 240 some odd page book called The Great Reset.
And read the book several
times. You can get it on Amazon. He puts it in writing.
Again, it's in Georgia Guidestones. Like, it's out there. It's no longer what you want to label it, conspiracy theory or not. I mean, people are saying it's spoiler alerts now. It's either wake up or not. But this is serious because, I mean, going back to, where did he say the people that were that are waking up? Like, you know, it's.
The useless eater shall be eliminated.
Yes. Who's that? Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
I mean,
I forgot where it was, Jen.
a result. Yeah, I can't.
Savannah, do you have any input on this particular projector? Because we can wrap up.
Yeah.
Personal survival. Yes, thanks for pointing that out, Savannah. When you have his authority is his spleen. His moment-to-moment awareness of his own personal survival is all he cares about.
It's very logical.
It's not only a very logical channel. When it's working outside of the need to commune with humanity, it's cold. Everything on the left side of the body graph has the potential to just be cold. As a potential. There's nothing wrong with that all by itself, especially if you're integrated with other people. Sometimes, you're cold. It's like, I don't want anything to do with that. Okay. If my friend says I don't want anything to do with that and they have the channel of judgment, I say that's great. I love you anyway. That's perfect. I guess I don't either, But in this man, entitled, they call themselves the elites. They've named themselves. That's what that guy was saying. In the future, the elites, if the elites had this ability to hack brains in Nazi Germany or I forgot where else he said, they would have done it. They didn't. They couldn't. Yeah. So they've labeled themselves the elites. He's outside of his need to commune with humanity. He's not himself. So we can count on getting the power that man wields coming from the person who's not Klaus Schwab, coming from his old, fearful, not seven-centered ways. It's going to do everything he said. Every euphemism he uses is all about, we will have to curtail things will be difficult. Fuck you, Klaus. Difficult means people dying on the streets. That's what you're talking about. So JP said it right. It can be the Great Reset or this pressure we're receiving now, Jen, evolutionarily speaking, we're under evolutionary pressure to basically immune escape. We are attempting to escape the pressure by evolving ourselves. The only way to do it is to wake up. It's either the Great Reset or it is the Great Awakening. The choice is ours. On that, I conclude.
Great job. Thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow to the channel. We don't know who we're going to be doing next week, but I'm really loving the way we are going. I think it's important that we do talk about this information. And tonight's episode, they said it, like humans are hackable. That is the future. They're trying to do that to us. There is a software program that is running, and I feel that those who are awakening are the antivirus. So it's time we really start activating and becoming that antivirus, because these fuckers need to come down. With that said, make sure if you don't know what your design is and you have not already booked a session with Dan, make sure you do that, please. Our mission here is to help people wake up to who they truly are so that they can stop acting in their not self theme, and we can come together and start defending our tribe away from this other tribe. Okay.
The American tribe, baby. The American tribe.
Well, the world tribe. It's not just America.
Absolutely.
It's got to be all over the world, because this fucker isn't even in America and he's already affecting everywhere. So it's time we take him down. With that said, guys, y'all have a wonderful evening.
Au revoir.